Okay. We have headphones. We have music. We have Parker Sketchbook, which is really cool, from a guy who's really cool, who's going to make. So remember, hire Parker. And we have Sister Wendy. I love Sister Wendy. Sister Wendy was so cool. I grew up with Sister Wendy. I used to watch her on TV all the time. She's a nun who teaches art. And she was in Solitude, which I think about all the time. She learned from postcards. So she gathered the art any way she could, stayed alone in her, the solitude, and studied alone, quietly. And I thought, I'm a Jewish version of Sister Wendy, because that's what I've done my whole life. Just gather as much information as I can, go to my room, and just study. And so I really love Sister Wendy. She was super cool. It was so fun listening to this nun just talking about sexy stuff. My only concern that I always thought about is the Vatican. They're so rich. Why didn't they get her braces? Come on, she's making you guys a ton of money. You can't afford to get her some braces? Please. Okay, so here's the Parker sketchbook. Oh, what happened to the first page? Should I skip the first page? Where's the... Where is it? Oh no. This is weird. Oh no, here it is. Okay. Oh, it scared me. So here's the first page that we did. Okay, now we're going to shift this way. Okay. Um, we're going to learn from Sister Wendy. And the one I'm going to use is what I call three men hanging around. Okay. So we got these three guys just hanging around, talking. And gonna have some fun with it. I don't know if I want. I've drawn this one so many times, and this one too, but I really love this one because I like the push, the pull from the shoulder. So let's do that one. So we got that over here. Oh, that works. Okay. Yeah, we'll put on some music, but I gotta tell you guys a true story, and it's called having a conference. Let's put on music though. A lot of times I'll listen to religious music while I'm working, which is Genesis, because that's about as religious as I get. And here we go. Really frustrate my friends because I'm not religious. That's all my friends, the Christian and the Jewish people. Wait, can I see this thing with the glare? This looks better for you. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to start with the shoulder. Yeah, here we go. So I'm at the airport, and that Friday was completely black and white. Everywhere, black and white. There were nuns. There were like hundreds of nuns everywhere. So I sit down, and this woman sits next to me, and she was dressed in black and white, and she was a nun. And we started talking. We had the greatest time. She was fantastic. Just a wonderful lady. And we had so much fun just talking. And I'm going to maybe bring the head down. It says cervical vertebrae number 7. We found that we had a lot of similarities. Our love for paying it back, our love for people. We both really love people. I really like people. And I said, what's going on? She goes, well, we just had a nun convention. And I said, oh, that's cool. She said, 700 nuns in one room. I go, that's a lot of nuns. So I had this really long conversation. And conversation got to sex. It was really funny. It's like having a conversation with a nun about sex at an airport. How's that for a movie? And, again, working with kids and making sure they're safe. And we both shared that same goal, make sure they're safe. And she said, okay, Sheldon, how do we stop the kids from engaging in sexual activities, after they've started. And I thought about it, and I thought, I need to come up with an analogy that you would understand. And she said, okay. I said, have you ever had chocolate? And she goes, yeah. I said, did you stop at one piece? She said, no. I said, bingo. I said, once it gets started, it's hard to stop. That was funny. I thought it was a good analogy. But we had a good time. We liked each other very much. So that was kind of fun. So Sister Wendy is just a badass lady. And she really knows her stuff. So talking about sex, let's bring it back to our favorite subject as artists, which are STDs. What are STDs? Let's see what we're going to do with this next. Think about that. STDs are scientific trajectory distribution systems. So in this situation, the rib cage is an STD. It's coming out this way. So if we're animating, we're going to arc the rib cage. Okay, because that's an STD. The shoulder is going this way. That's a scientific trajectory distribution system. Okay, and that's an STD. I'm going to turn his head, have him look away this way. Oh, this is fun. So the second part of this lecture is called STDs Play No Favorites. Okay, there we go. Something like those. So now this is another STD with this head going away from me this way, playing law of opposites. See, what Rubens did, he's got everything going the same direction. Well, we're going to change that a little bit. There we go. We're going to give a ponytail. So we got this nice rhythm coming this way, coming around. This is a secondary STD, which is the olecranon. Boom. So that's a scientific trajectory distribution system. It's got to be sustainable. It's got to be able to work throughout the future. This is going to come towards me, so I'm going to go like that. For the person who asked the question that I answered, finally answered, as soon as you put in a cross contour, you have form. You got 3D, so we got that. I'm using green because green is a biblical color. It's in the Bible. Okay, we know that from our school. The two religious things we do at our school is we listen to Genesis and we use the color green. That's about as religious as we get. The reason why the color green is religious is because when Moses was walking down the mountain with his 3 tablets with the 15 commandments, there was a burning bush, and the bush was green. And how does a green bush burn? And he was walking down, and he goes, "Holy Moses, a burning green bush!" And he got so excited that he dropped his tablet. So that was the change of history. Thank you, Mel Brooks. Here we go. I am completely changing this pose. So how's this for sacrilegious? I am drawing from a book by Sister Wendy while talking about biblical colors, drawing 3 men hanging out, and listening to Edgar Winter's Frankenstein. There you go. Now that's contrast and affinity. All right, so here we go. So we got this really pushing this thing. Now, when we get to the inside, the serratus anteriors are going to come around like this. And those are also STDs. And they're going to animate the eye. See, and we're going to come around here. to an external oblique, which is a subtle STD. So STDs play no favorites. They're all over the place. With ribcage. Pelvis, like that. The distance between the bottom of the rib cage and the top of the pelvis is 1 fist. So we're going to stick that in there. We go right into, oh, it just dropped you guys. We go right into the, right into the zone. Listen to this, Hallelujah, Jeff Buckley. That's pretty cool. Start that again. This kids at the school really turned me on to new music all the time. So it's kind of fun. Because I never heard of Jeff Buckley before. It's really good. One of the questions that I saw that kind of stood out, pretty cool. They said, you don't copy anything, but if you're doing an illustration, don't you use the scrap and work right from it? Yeah, of course. So everybody has always projected since, the pearl earring in that movie. Always projecting. You have to fix the distortion, and then you have to adjust it to tell the story. That's all. So that's AI. It's been going on forever. Just AI has taken it to a much different level. So when this line goes in front of this line, that's foreshortening. So foreshortening can be done in a really subtle area too. If this goes in, if this goes in this way, this has to somehow go the opposite way. So it's a little tough to do. Here's another STD. I think this leg's gonna have to go away from us. So let's do that. It wants to do it. Sometimes the drawing will tell you what it wants to do. So go with the flow. Then this can come towards. I have my gardener here. That's funny. So all I do is draw. That's it. I don't do the yard. I don't do the pool. All I do is draw. So they have their specialty and I have mine. You don't really pull this neck. Okay, so the light's gonna come, make it come this way. So I'm looking for core shadows. So I love green. I mean, Jesus walked on water, and I'm sure the water had kind of a green tint to it. The Last Supper, I think they're all vegetarians, so probably a lot of salads and green. I'm sure they ate their vegetables because they were, religious and, they're good people. They listened to their mommy. So I'm sure they ate healthy, so it's green. Garden of Eden was green. It's all religious. I'm sure the snake was somewhat green. The apple doesn't have to be red. Could eat a green apple, So I have my reasons for drawing green. People think I'm religious. I am so not religious. Passover's here, and I hate that holiday. So, but it's so funny because I always felt guilty. My neighbors would give us an Easter basket full of like God's gifts, chocolate and marshmallows and everything. It was wonderful. And to say thank you, we'd give them a box of cardboard called matzah. It's like, isn't that cool? So these are all STDs. That's an STD. This is an STD. STDs have no favorites. Another thought this week. So I'm drawing in a lot of sketchbooks now, probably over 100 that I'm currently drawing in. So, the thought of of death, right? You can't die if you've got all these sketchbooks. If you never finish a sketchbook, then you never finish. So you can't die. You gotta finish your sketchbook, right? So if we get a knock on the door, you go, who is it? It's Death. Oh, sorry, I'm not ready yet. I got to finish my sketchbooks, right? And then they'll go away. They'll come back another time, knock on the door, knock, knock, knock. Who is it? It's Death. Oh, sorry, still finishing my sketchbooks, you see? So I think this way because I spend a lot of time alone. And now, let me ask you a question. If Michelangelo adopted to this and all of Rubens and everything, they'd still be here. Still trying to finish those sketchbooks. And we'd still have them. Would that be cool? I think of this stuff. All right, I'm making this up because here, put this back. You don't see it at all. Most of this drawing right now is being made up. See, it's really fun. A lost edge right there. So I'm in the zone right now, and that's where you want to. That's where you really want to live.
All right, how's that for changing a pose? That's fun. I could fall asleep right now. You get so into it. You're just so relaxed. And that's what we want. So for the people who are doing this or aren't going to go into it as a career, it's just as important to just immerse yourself in it and just go to the happy place, go to the zone. So this is for me. This isn't for anybody else. I use it. I do my commercial work. I use practice. But, for me, it's just my favorite thing in the world. So
What do we got? We got Parker. He's a religious guy. He's perfect. He's great. I'm training him. Give him everything. Give him everything that exists so he can be successful. Talked about nuns, Sister Wendy, getting lost, changing the pose, just loving drawing. So one day I was trying to explain to somebody what art is, and they were Christians. I said, "You're a Christian?" I said, "Yeah." So is that Christianity your soul? Yeah. Do you think it makes you a better person? I said, yeah. This is my Christianity. This is my religion. This is what I do. This is what makes it's everything in me. I love it. So find your place. But for me, give me a sketchbook, some headphones, watching strangers go by, and I'm in heaven. Loving it. In your own little world. That's what art is. Okay, we'll keep going. We're going to do a lot in a sketchbook because there's a lot here. If you don't finish the sketchbook, when the Grim Reaper knocks on the door, you're just going to say, sorry, go away. Okay, see you guys.